Nico Hülkenberg stepping into the racing point for Lance Stroll, who's sick and unable to drive the car on cue. Here he is, parachuted in. Nico knows the place pretty well. Of course, has won races here in single-seaters before and knows, at least he knows the car now.
George Russell puts himself out of the bottom 5, and now Sebastian Vettel is very much at risk as we look at his former teammate Kimi Räikkönen. Räikkönen can't get out of the bottom 5. That's it for qualifying for him. He'll start his 323rd Grand Prix towards the rear. Sebastian Vettel goes 8th fastest. Giovinazzi, who's not been out of Q1 in 2020, puts himself 14th.
Hülkenberg had a problem at turn 1 when he tried again, so he won't get through, I'm suspecting. Perez then goes up into P9.
So, can Giovinazzi hang on to a spot in Q2? Who's behind him that's setting a personal best? Latifi has set 2 personal bests. Hülkenberg's on a flying lap as well.
Yeah. So Grosjean lost that time through running wide at turn 14. A lock up there for Hülkenberg.
As Ricciardo goes 5th for Renault. Nico Hülkenberg, as Nicholas Latifi fails to get out of the bottom 5 and fails to go ahead of his teammate. Hülkenberg now crosses the line and stays in the bottom 5. So disappointment for him. It was a miracle that they were asking to try and get out of Q1 in the end.
Yeah, a lot to ask for him. It's a pity he didn't get out this morning.
And to the line goes 4th fastest for Daniel Ricciardo, who 2/3 of the lap was about 2/10 up on his teammate Esteban Ocon. Ocon crosses the line now, so 1:26.3 for Esteban Ocon, ends up about 3/10 down on his teammate. Kevin Magnussen goes 11th fastest. Decent performance from him. Can he hang on to 11th spot? As we now look to see Lando Norris going 6th fastest, so ahead of Ocon, behind Ricciardo. The Renault-McLaren battle is going to be very close all weekend long. Gasly puts himself into the top 10, but only just. Leclerc and Vettel and Kvyat might want to say something about that. Sainz goes 7th fastest behind his teammate Lando Norris. By the way, at McLaren, so far this year, it's 6-4 in favour of Carlos Sainz in the qualifying battle, as Perez now puts Gasly at risk and goes 7th fastest in the racing point. Kvyat goes 11th fastest, can't get into the top 10. His teammate Gasly breathed a huge sigh of relief, but for only a millisecond, as Sebastian Vettel goes 10th for Ferrari and puts himself momentarily into Q3 before his teammate Charles Leclerc knocks him out and pushes him down to 11th, and that's a fine lap once again by Charles Leclerc.
Leclerc's really standing up in the seat of that Ferrari, isn't he? Metaphorically speaking, that's another great lap from him.
8 races in a row that Leclerc has out-qualified Sebastian Vettel, as Antonio Giovinazzi goes ahead of Kevin Magnussen and puts his Alfa Romeo 14th. But what a decent lap that was by Charles Leclerc. And amidst all of that, Max Verstappen puts in another lap on the soft tyre, 7/100ths behind Lewis Hamilton. So Hamilton 28.0 and then a 35.6 for the middle sector. Verstappen has now gone a 27.8, so 2/10 quicker than Hamilton, 1/10 quicker than Bottas through that first sector. Bottas then puts in a 35.5 and is looking fairly handy here as we ride on board with Lewis Hamilton. A 1:25.8. That then is the time that they're all now chasing. Bottas was half a second down on Hamilton, has now turned that around, and in 13 thousandths of a second goes ahead of Lewis Hamilton. But Max Verstappen has started his lap very well and is already a 10th up on Valtteri Bottas. Ocon goes 3rd fastest, ahead then of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, and it's a 35.5 for Max Verstappen in the middle sector, matching Valtteri Bottas. So he's got about a 10th in a hand with 1/3 of this lap to go. Charles Leclerc goes 3rd fastest, another good lap from him ahead of the Renaults and the McLarens as well. Here comes Max Verstappen, and Max Verstappen is on provisional pole. Mercedes have taken pole in every race so far this season. They are not on pole at the moment. That is for Max Verstappen.
Oh, it just rotated beautifully, didn't it, over the crest there. Now he wants to really hug the inside here. So you give it up a bit there. So turn 4 opens up nicely, and you less risk of leaving the track and getting a penalty as well.
and he's not managed to go quicker through the first sector than he had previously.
You can tell how lean they run the engines on part throttle as it's sort of almost sounds like it's misfiring.
As Hamilton was about 800ths down, Valtteri Bottas is up, 27.8 for him in the first sector. Max Verstappen is up, and a 27.8 for him as well. So Hamilton with a fraction of time to make up here and to improve on. Bottas and Hamilton have already done that during the first sector, and Alex Albon matching Lewis Hamilton in the first sector with a 27.9 as well. This is getting very competitive now as Hamilton is 0.003 of a second up on a time he needs for pole position here with a 35.4 during the middle sector. Ocon goes fifth fastest, but behind his teammate Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault. Valtteri Bottas has gone quicker than Hamilton during the course of the middle sector, so has Max Verstappen as well. Hamilton crosses the line, and it is provisional pole for Lewis Hamilton at the track where he took pole position before. Valtteri Bottas, though, next to cross the line. He's out-qualified Hamilton here at the Nürburgring this afternoon. It's Mercedes 1 and 2. Here comes Verstappen, and he is down. He lost 0.2 in the final sector. Alex Albon then fourth for Red Bull. It is Mercedes 1 and 2. They continue their 100% record at Formula One qualifying sessions in 2020. And a round of applause for Charles Leclerc as well. That is fourth on the grid for Charles Leclerc, and that matches his fourth on the grid at Silverstone in the British Grand Prix. Said it before, we'll say it again. It's not where you start, it is where you finish. The man from Finland is on pole, and Mercedes have a 72nd front row lockout in Formula One.